Vital's Bee Practice podcast is proudly sponsored by Maxis, BergTech, and Industry 9.
Maybe we jump into talking about points and stuff, and then maybe we can touch more on just like, how where you finish and what that might look like from being a sponsored rider or just like the weight it carries. All right, so scroll back up. Points. So now you're getting points in elites for qualifying, semifinals, and finals. Junior points remain the same for finals. Qualifying points have not changed. There's 50 points up for grabs for first place for both women and men. Elite men semifinal points are the same as finals points from last year. There's 200 up for grabs for first. Elite women, there's only 150 points available for first and semifinals. So this kind of means like if you would have finished 40th in the elite men's semifinals this coming year, you'll get the same points as you would have gotten in 2022, getting 40th in finals. For elite women, if you finish outside the top 10 in semifinals, you'll be getting less points than you would have received in 2022, finishing in the same position in finals. For elite men, there's 250 points allotted for first and finals. Elite women, 200 points for first. Elite men, there's 500 points total up for grabs in a weekend. Before it was 450. Elite women, 400. Before it was 450. And then there's no points awarded for qualifying or semifinals at the final round of the season, which was the same as before. And then my question, kind of going back to like consistency, is, now there's more points up for grabs, but at the same time, that means there's more opportunity to miss out on points. Like, how does that? I mean, kind of, you already touched on it, Dakota, but like, how do you ride less aggressive? Do you like think about, okay, I just want to get through to finals because that's the most points paying, and I'm just going to kind of ride smooth and consistent, and then like, ride balls to the wall in finals? Or
So to me, the sport has always rewarded that go for glory type racing, right? The point structure, I don't think we have it here, but I think it's like heavily weighted at the top. So, for me, in a race run, you're always trying to like, in my season, it's like it doesn't reward getting 10th place every weekend, but if you can get on the podium once, and you can still be, towards the top of the overall, even if you have a couple of bad rounds. So it's like a dude that's like hasn't really had the best season can go toss it on the podium a couple times, and then he's like back in a single digit number play. So I think that I would like to see the sport reward consistency more. But at the same time, by cutting the field so much, you're going to have a lot of dudes that are going to be having a checkers or wreckers mindset to try to get in the final. So you can't exactly go for consistency as much anymore. Just because I think there's so many dudes that are going to be doing like Hail Mary runs trying to get through the semifinal. And we've had quite a bit of a debate in the riders group about the point structure. And I think that the general consensus is the amount of points to win the semifinal and the amount of points to win the final. I don't think people are as much in favor of having so many points awarded to the semifinal, because it starts to change the DNA of our sport for having it be one run for all the glory and just putting that magic of that one special run together. And I think that like maybe the discovery group wants to see maybe more consistency. But I think that the way they're cutting the sport, if they would have still had 60 riders in the final, made a semifinal, and to like determine, for whatever reason, then it would reward consistency more. But just because it's crunching the sport so much, I think that you're still going to see a lot of like go for glory moments. So with the point structure, for me, I would like to see for my own riding and my personal, like me as an athlete, I like the reward for consistency, but I don't think that everybody necessarily does.
Makes sense. Like
Is it
yeah.
What do you think about, like, it seems like it's going to be more possible this go around, like if you could finish third in the semifinal, third in the final, you might take home the max amount of or the most points of anyone for the weekend. I feel like that's a big change. That could
sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I think, yeah, like currently every World Cup winning run you watch is like hair on fire, like sending down the mountain. Like I wonder if that will.
Sam Hill 08.
Yeah, right. That's kind of right. Like that's kind of the level of where it's at, and everyone's just going for it to win a World Cup. And I think now, yeah, you might be able to back it down just a couple percent and take home the most amount of points for the weekend, which is interesting.
It's almost like the Triple Crown format for Supercross.
That's what I was going to say.
You don't win a single heat or main event out of the 3 main events, but you win the overall for the night, which is just not that exciting. But
yeah, how does that make you? How does that make you feel like as a viewer?
So yeah, but if you have if you're rewarding consistency, then you're going to reward someone that's the people that are continuously in the top 10. So then those are the people that people keep seeing their names come around. So then it builds more connection with the viewer to the sport, instead of having 60 people that you need to know the names of to watch the sport, and like wild cards that are like 5 of the top 20 right now are like, those are people that are not consistently in the top 20, or even 10 people in the top 20 at each race are not consistently in the top 20. So it's like gives consistency. So then you can build more sponsorship dollars based around these people that are continuously getting into that top 30 and are going to be seen more often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't picture anybody going less like full gas. You know, like everybody's still going to be putting in gnarly runs for semifinals because you're going to get points. And I actually hadn't thought about how it's 50 points difference between semifinals and finals for both elite fields. And like, to me, that's just them being like, okay, we're going to add in semifinals, and everyone's like not really into it, especially people that like don't know if they're going to be able to make it out of it into finals. But we'll just give you the same amount of points you would have gotten finals. So like, it's okay. It's all good. You're like getting what you would have last year, except that you're missing out on like a whole second chance to also score more points. And yeah. And I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it is interesting. Like, I don't picture anybody trying to play the like strategic game racing downhill and being like, I'm going to just, like try to go for like top 10 and everything with the idea that like rounds me out and gives me like a better overall than somebody who gets 15th in semifinals and wins finals. Like I don't like, we already had qualifying and finals, and the same dudes that were in the top 5 in qualifying were the top 5 of finals. You know what I mean? Like, sure, we've added an extra one and there's a few more elements to that, like an extra race, but I think it'll be a similar, like Amory is not going to just like back it down. Like if he's in the gate and they're like, hey, we're going to time you and we're going to give you points if you beat everybody. He's like, okay, go fast.
I just think,
probably not. I think, go ahead, Tanner.
No, you can go. Miles, like,
I think that it's key that the final round of the year does not, correct me if I'm wrong, but does not award points for qualifying and semifinals. Yep. Correct? Yeah. Okay, so the final round, like you could still end up in situations like 2019 snowshoe, right? Which is cool, because I think otherwise you could see like, oh, like Loic's got the lead in the series and he can just have like, a couple 4th place runs and be dialed, right? But I think, thankfully, I think that like final round format's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I think the current format does open up opportunities for like consistency and like toning it back just a touch to maybe work out for some riders. But